Assaults. Steven here. I know it's been quite a long fucking hiatus. Pretty sure no one missed me. Since I get no likes. No, just kidding. But, I don't know. What should I say? Quite a bit has gone on since the last vlog. Mainly, I managed to survive the last semester, as I mentioned, and then started this new semester. Got a lot of really interesting classes, which I'm actually looking forward to. Like, pretty much all of them so far have some epicness to them in one way or the other. So that's just what's currently going on. But overall, I think the biggest lesson that I learned from last year that I'm trying to instill, and I think was pretty much what caused the hiatus, was just the idea of fucking pace. You're in here in this for a long haul, so pace yourself. And I think, so what happened to me last year, I was just so like, about like everything, that at one point at the end of the year, I just fucking straight died. Like, literally just shut down, did not want to do anything, almost got self-suicidal. It was really fucking weird, because I just ran myself into the ground so much. Like, literally every single day was just like pure execution, right? And like, actually, I think that's what contributed to me fighting. I got somewhat sick last year. Not like sickness, but like you get a fever, and then you get like the flu's around, but you know you're healthy, but it still affects you in a way that it shouldn't. And that's when you fucking know, right? Like, it's not, when things like that occur, that's when you realize maybe energetically you're not managing yourself. Spiritually, you're not managing yourself very well, because you're just pushing beyond what you're naturally called to do, right? So I literally got to a point where I did not want to do anything. Like, I just literally, and still kind of to this day, like, would just literally sleep all day fucking long. Like, did little to no rev gen, like nothing. And like, I just didn't want to hear nothing. Like, I just did not want to do it. Like, even fucking opening Rosetta Stone to me was just like out of the question, because I was just so done with like everything, fucking life itself. And like, it was really like a soul searching moment, because I was just like, fuck, like, what's the point of all this? Why am I even doing it? And it's kind of akin to when someone is running low on carbs. So, like, there's a spiritual carb. And when it's depleted, you can't do shit. So, like, the zeal for whatever it is, the zeal to do what you want to do for forever is not there. So for me, my biggest thing is really pacing myself and understanding that, yes, it's cool short term to kill yourself, but then it's even cooler, it's even swaggier to have the zeal, that God-given strength / through Christ, that energy that's like blessed by it, through Christ who strengthens me, that you can do to be able to do whatever it is you want to do for forever, whatever it is. So that's really one thing I'm trying to focus on this year. So that was really my biggest fucking epiphany. Like, long haul, like what that really means, and like try to temper my young boyish tendencies to just want to run out without temperance. But yeah, it's like it's crazy how those contrasting elements are so fucking key, right? Like, to you gotta have like that burning fire to want to do, but then at the same time, you also have to like have that fan that fucking just like controls the magnitude or intensity of the fire, right? That tempers it at times and like sparks it up at times, just perfectly uh, gearing and fine tuning that flame to the level that it's required or that it needs to be. Um, Found that really cool. It's kind of funny, but I was thinking about so a few days ago, I don't know if it was yesterday or before yesterday, the reading of the day for scriptures was talking about King David and how he slayed the giant. And it was just like, oh my god, I fucking cried like that description. It's like a young boyish sheep herder with beautiful locks getting up and saying, I will slay that motherfucker. I was like, holy shit. Or like just fucking characters like Luffy in anime, who's like, he's just got this ever beaming boyish grin, but then at the same time having the audacity to just have such audacious ambitions, right? Or just plenty of characters like that. Just that fucking perfect synergies of nearly opposing elements that just combine together to create one swaggy ass picture. That was kind of my lesson, or my multi-dimensional representation of what it is to just be on point, right? To golden mean, be at that pace, that golden rate of growth, blah blah blah, right? So I thought that was cool. And then also been fucking lolling my fucking ass off at this Bitcoin bullshit. I'm like, bruh, are you fucking kidding me? Like, okay, if you know anything about markets or any, I want to say, I'll just speak plainly using words that make sense to what I'm saying, but might not officially. Like, money systems, not money, money structures, right? Financial structures, right? You know that typically, essentially why it rose is because if something, say for example, something has no instrumental value and no inherent value, meaning it's completely artificial value, 100% speculation, right? So what that means is, say this thing has no value whatsoever. What I'm going to do to raise the value of the thing is I'm going to put my money down, where they say put your money where your mouth is. So I'm going to say I'm going to raise the value of this thing by putting down $100 towards it. Let's say this thing, let's say every object existed has a bucket, right? And this bucket is the vehicle through which its value can be represented, if you want to put it that way, right? Meaning it can be converted to a price, so to speak. And so by putting money into this thing's bucket, you're raising its value artificially, but you're not really. I wanted to make that clear, and that's kind of why I said that, right? So I'm going to put $100 into this thing's bucket, 200, 1,000, a million. Now you can clearly see how this fucking thing grows. It's just the money in the system, right? It has nothing to do with the actual value of the thing itself. And that's why this is pure shit, and why it's so fucking scary to see literally niggas taking out like mortgage loans, all this shit, just to invest in it. Because, yeah, it's cool to be able to make it worth something by saying one of it is worth a lot. But you're just creating a monopoly when you realize that literally 0.01% of the people that are in that system control 90% of the amount of quantities of that system's thing, right? So literally there's like 4 people that own 99% of Bitcoins. And then the rest is like the common population. And when you think about that, you realize that it's like a fucking scam. It's literally at that point, it's like old school selling tactics. Buy, urgency, will close soon, limited offer. It's so fucking funny. Like, when I saw it, I was like, how do people not see this? Am I fucking retarded? I have to be retarded. 100%, I have to be the most retarded person in the world if I'm seeing shit completely sideways. Like, it makes no sense to me. I probably do need therapy after all. But it's literally that. On top of that, the very idea of a currency inherently means that there is a universal standard, read, value, objective or fixed value for that currency. On top of that, the reason why currencies are done in the way that they are. For example, some countries maybe have higher fixed values than others is literally because of the direct representation of that country's, you can say, the value or the impact that they have on the world. In other words, how much they produce, how much they actually create goods from their own, how much they do, or how do you say, multiply the little that they have, right? Like, there's this funny saying in my family that's like, you can have money, but if it's not blessed, then you won't ever do shit with it. Nothing good can come about from it, right? And I was like, I've always kept that one close to heart because it's the truest thing ever. How so many people who are literally liquid rich can't do shit with it. Like, it just seems like they cannot make it be fruitful in any way whatsoever. And to go back, that's how you calculate a country's currency trade, right? How much they buy versus how much they're selling. On top of that, also, it factors into like things in the country's economy itself, like how much taxes are being paid, how much, what is the growth rate, things like circulation, like what some people refer to as cash flow. Actually, the word for what I'm referring to is cash flow, but I don't think people actually know what they're talking about when they say cash flow. But it's literally circulation, right? Like how easily, what I mentioned in that growth video, the soil moves, or how easily water goes through the country, or how easily money travels through the country, right? Like, that is a sign of a vibrant economy when things are being bought, right? Like when people go shopping and the money that they use to shop is earned from their job, right? And the money that the job used to pay them is earned from like revenue, like income, right? Doing business with maybe another business, right? Or even just having some sort of honoring the agreement set about by like a government or a federal grant, right? And that money that they're giving to them is given to them not only by like the money allocated in a budget, like the fiscal budget, but also even a part of it can be the money allocated in the taxpayer pool, right? Like when you pay your taxes, you're actually contributing to this cash, this huge reservoir of cash. And from that cash, it's actually, there's a budget that's made on how it should be used, right? Like that's where from there assets like municipalities are created, or even social programs, or even just what do you call unemployment, things like that, right? Things that just spur life and the activity of life, raise the quality of the life, make life more vibrant, make life more enriching, make life worth living, right? And how it flows through all these different contexts or structures is actually a sign of vibrancy. Because when when it does not flow, it means that somewhere maybe there is a rupture in a relationship. Maybe it means that there is a rupture in the flow of the operation itself, right? Like customer complaining so much that they literally do not do business with a whole entire sector or industry or marketplace, or even government, right? Or state operated money vehicle, whatever that is, post office or a fucking particular tax office or IRS, like all these different things, right? And it's so crazy when you think about how everything is literally fucking combined together like that. And this is not even comprising the brick and mortar things like the dwarfs and the elves, like the fucking guys, the cave miners, right? The owners of precious metals and ores, a la RuneScape, right? Or the fucking magic wielders and creators, the ones that like literally work, they're sentient beings working behind the scenes for your benefit, right? To even like the healers, right? The fucking ones that like keep you in good shape, or the monks, the ones that like wish good upon you, the ones that really want you to succeed, literally the ones to whom their thought is such a multiplier, such a karmic multiplier for you, that it's literally sought out for in certain places in crazy ways, right? To even like the warriors, and how like by everything, a curated ecosystem lends to a pure and fruitful and enriching spirit, which leads to a warrior actually doing the right thing, like training, doing his kata, right? Staying on his way, like fucking samurai type shit, and like not losing himself to his vices, right? Becoming like a robber, fucking gangster, thief, murderer, all those types of shit, but actually literally doing things that benefits all, even if some people might feel differently about it. Like the one literally giving them that inner spiritual fortitude to always do the right thing. So all these things come together, right? And to go back, all of that ties into fucking currency. And why? Because it's literally valuable inherently of itself. But for the sake of physical reality interaction, for the sake of trade, you have to put like a number to it, right? But it's actually fluid if you think about the fact that if you realize the spiritual game changer that what I mentioned a while ago, like a true friend or a bond, like a true spiritual connection is, and how it's actually like like two cats doing this to each other. Fucking Tai Chi type shit. But like you can clearly see how it's fucking real and concrete, as opposed to some like magic mathematical formula that someone actually created because they're running simulations on something, and then like they're like, hey, let's sell this shit. You know what I mean? Like it has no value, no real tangible inherent value. It's just fictitious, like riding on the fucking wave of like grassroots, like for the people. But in reality, it's not when you think about it. And it's like has malicious intent to like overthrow shit and whatnot. But that's another thing. My thing is, if you want to create like a universal currency, I always go back to this shit I was talking about, where it's like the quanta, like it's all about the quanta. And I think a true universal currency, something that can objectively be recognized by all in one way or the other. I like to say we can recognize karma and energy, and I believe that's actually going to be the next currency, and it's going to be done in a way that like everyone can recognize it. So funny, as I was thinking about this, I was actually thinking about this vision I had a long time ago in Norman, where like I was like, it was almost like I saw like this white dragon looking thing flying through the sky, and it felt at that moment like if everyone could see it too, and like because of it, it flew just all over the place, and it was almost like because everyone was connected, everyone knew themselves, so they also knew what they had to do. And so in that moment, it was literally like self-regulation. Like everyone was like self-regulated, right? Like you didn't need someone after you because you just knew the right thing. And so because of that, there was no need for this idea of like someone up there telling you what to do. It was just known, right? And like, I don't know why, but in my head, that was the idea of that like triangular eye that like people fucking like to they talk about it. I think a lot of the shit people say they really don't. They so much just regurgitated shit, but it's like that, like this thing, and it's actually just a manifestation of all of our collective consciousness in one, right? So what you would get if we all became one, just this giant eye or giant pyramid thing just going all over, flying, because we're all contributing to it, because it is us. And I don't know why I'm even talking about that, but I feel like when you think about global currencies or some universal currencies, something that can be used in all countries and always holds, I think about that vision. And I don't know, I feel like it is in that we could find something that would actually create something like that. Funny enough, I actually even drew. Fucking what? It's new moniesss would be a lot of that. It's a lot of fuck weird shit. I'm such a weirdo. I really am. But yeah, on top of that, you can't have a fucking thing that has like brokers selling you different fixed price for the currency. It makes no sense. That's literally the direct proof that like your shit is bullshit. If someone's saying, no, it's worth $3 here, and then someone's like, no, it's worth $2.50 just to get people to buy, or $1 here, that's bullshit. Everywhere you go in the world, the US dollar holds, the value is always the same. Even moneylender, what they do is they actually give you, instead of good money changers actually round up, and will round up instead of rounding down, because kinship, like friendship, your benefit is their benefit. If you're able to actually get more of what you want, then it's actually good for them, because they realize in you being happy, they're also happy. It's kind of crazy, but like it's like hyper realization of love, like, and what I define as may you be happy, right? Like may you get everything that you want, and understanding that. And so that's why you get some like physical money lenders will give you like $1 more than others, right? And that's where you get like this 0.001 discrepancies, but it's literally 0.001. It's not like this whole fucking $100, $5, $10 shit that you see in Bitcoin. So that's that. Fucking shit. Also, so yeah, that's fucking life. Been trying to fucking life it up. I don't even know what that means. Yeah. So that's pretty much that. And then also I was thinking, I don't know why, I've been listening to a lot of fucking freestyles recently, and there was one with Kendrick Lamar where he has this line. It's like, it's all Republicans and Democrats. I was like, oh my god, this is it! That is it, bro! You've got it! It's like, dude, you can't be on one wave if you're literally putting yourself in gangs. Like, that gang mentality in, like, the formal world. It's such bullshit. Especially when you realize that the origin, people try to say, the origin of my party is from the days of George Washington, when those niggas split each other in two camps. No, bro, they did not split each other in two camps. They just had two approaches to it. One of them felt that, like, if they used government to essentially, if they regulated people's lives quite a bit, then they were creating breeding grounds that would be conducive to leading a situation to fucking monarchy and the shit that happened in France, i.e. a king who is lording over people, who eventually annoys people, who eventually leads to guillotines and reign of terror. I think that's what that time was, that dark period, where all these high niggas are just getting their heads chopped off. Like, that's probably one of the most horrific events in history, like, worldwide. And so they were keenly aware of that shit, keenly afraid, and that was their argument against. Right? So those were the laissez-faire niggas, meaning, let's not regulate too much, let's just let shit be and let God decide, i.e. nature. And then the other ones were like, bruh, there's a lot of people here who are dickheads, and because of that, they're gonna always try to like start shit and start wars, and we're not really trying to have that. We're not trying to create this whole fucking Britain 2.0 where we're always at war with one another and with other people, because people are always just trying to fight. People are not trying to respect each other's rights, liberties, religious liberties, whatever that may be, whatever that entails, even if you don't understand it or you're not about it. So let's create, through government, a way that can protect everyone's liberties, right? And that was the, I think, Federalists? I think that's the word. Let's use Google. Google, define Federalist. I think that was it. Yeah. So that was that. That was literally two ideas. And when actually, in reality, when you read world history, not just told by one person, but by everyone, you come to a main, or you read the original text, you will realize that actually it was not a fight like most people try to write it. It was literally so civil discussions that it would make people today cry and like feel retarded and like boyish little boys and girls, because they just always had that love for unity and country and patriotism, or what people call patriotism, before anything, before their own fucking arms and legs and heads themselves, because they knew the fucking blood that was shed to to get to the point where they were. That's why I'm always lolling. I'm getting pissed at people are like, war, bruh, bruh, because it's very easy to be the nigga that's like, okay, let's go to war, or let's not, or let's sign this treaty, when you're not the one who has to first blood, or you're not the one who has to kill, or you're not the one out on the field taking the shots, having to snipe people, having to deal with the horrors of war. It's so fucking easy to do that shit when you're sitting from your nice little castle or nice little house, not doing shit, but just ordering people to do senseless shit. It's so easy to do that. I was like, you know what? If someone declares war, they should probably fight their own war. But let them see how it feels. And that's why I have so much respect for those niggas like Jay Washington and all that, because a lot of times the wisest, or they keep it so old school, so old ancient ways, where it's the king would go to war, he would be out there on the forefront. It's if I fucking put them to the sword or the gun, I must walk with them, as opposed to standing in the back, right? And that's the illest shit ever, because it just changes the very multidimensional reality and the context of war itself. It's this literal representation of honor even amidst that chaos, right? But that just got real fucking deep. But that was just my point. It's alright, yeah, cool. Just before you speak about shit, know the shit. Eat the shit. I'm just kidding. I don't even know. Okay, I think I've hit my stupid limit for the day. I'm peace out now. As always, slag the fuck out.
Super Mario. T.